Oh, hi there. Ollie Anderson here, walking around in nature, some trees and shit, although I shouldn't use bad language because I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. Anyway, I want to make a video about how liking people and agreeing with people isn't a condition for love. Like, you can actually show people a basic human level of love and respect and blah blah blah, even when you don't like them or agree with them. I think our culture has kind of got things topsy-turvy, and we think that if we don't like somebody or if we don't agree with them, then we can just take all the love away. But that's not real, and I want to tell you why that is in this short video. If you think about it, at the most basic level, love is really just acceptance. If you accept yourself, then you love yourself, and so even though there may be bad things about you, you can kind of accept them and then do something with them. It's the same with life. If you really love life, then you just accept it, whether it's good or bad. And it's the same with other people. Nobody is perfect all the time, and so if we disagree with them, or we feel like there's something wrong with them, we don't like them, well, that doesn't mean that the love has to go anywhere. Of course, when I'm talking about love, I'm not saying that we all need to like hold hands, skip around, sing Kumbaya. Just that we know, like, human beings are going to human, and that we're not all going to agree all the time, and then we're not going to like each other all the time, and that's totally cool. Like, there are loads of people that I love who I don't like 24/7, and I'm sure, in fact I'm very confident, there are people that love me, they don't agree with everything I say, they don't like me all the time, but the love is there, the foundation is real. So why can't we do that with other people? It sounds idealistic, but it's not, because the only reason we don't do that is because we don't accept ourselves. The problem is, we can only love beyond the conditions of liking or agreeing if we accept ourselves unconditionally. And that's mainly the main issue that is causing so many problems in the world, I would say. If we do not accept ourselves because we have underlying shame, guilt, and trauma, then we end up creating a fake version of ourselves, the ego, which we identify with vehemently, rigidly, and then we create a worldview for ourselves that helps us to keep that ego in place. And so anytime anybody disagrees with us, we feel like they're actually disagreeing with us fundamentally as a human being. And that makes us look at ourselves. Before we're ready, we have to face the shadow stuff that we've been hiding in the shadow self, and then we flip out and we go crazy and we start smashing the world up or shooting people or whatever it is, all because their worldview doesn't align with ours. Here I stand beside some acorns, telling you that ultimately it all comes down to what David Bohm said. He was a physicist who was interested in communication and stuff like that, dialogue. He said that our opinions are something that we have, not something that we are. That's one of the main issues in the world. Because we have an avoidance of our own real selves, our realness, and we hide behind ego and we keep the shadow self at bay, we think that we are our opinions. But opinions are just fragments, they're interpretations, they're not the truth itself. They're the things that stop us often from accepting the truth, which is that we're all beyond good and bad, we are just real. And if you understand that, and you realize your opinions are something that you have, not something that you are, you can free yourself to accept yourself unconditionally, but also you can free other people from your ego needs to control everything and put them in a little box. Mwah. I'm back by this birch tree, which I find very appealing for some reason. Basically, if we find ourselves getting really triggered and having emotional outbursts when people disagree with us, or when we feel like we don't like them, which are basically both conditions that we have put on them because of our own ego stuff, if we find ourselves like flipping out or having outbursts when that happens, then we can assume that we have all kinds of unresolved emotional stuff, shame, guilt, trauma, fear, whatever it is, that our opinions are basically causing us to resist. In fact, we've only created those opinions in most cases so we can continue to resist them at an unconscious level. And it's almost like you can say, you can tell what's inside people when they get squeezed and when you look at the juice that comes out. Some people might hear something that they disagree with and they're going to find it funny, or they're just going to be like totally equanimous about it and not bothered. Other people are going to start flipping tables and screaming. Sorry, there's a fly on my arm. Screaming and shouting, and maybe even worse. And it's not because the opinion has actually done anything to them. it's because they've allowed it to do something to them, because they've not allowed themselves to be themselves and have an unshakable foundation of realness and self-acceptance and love, if you want to use that word. The problem really is that we're treating the fragments as the whole. And so opinions are just fragments. They're not the truth itself. Some opinions, yeah, are more true than others. They point more closely to reality than others. But the concepts and interpretations themselves are just tools to understand the truth, not the actual truth. They're fragments. And so if you treat the fragment as the whole and try and define either yourself or somebody else as their opinions or the things that you like and dislike about them, then you're not seeing the bigger picture, which is that everybody is multifaceted, that we're a combination of good and bad, light and dark, blah, 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 blah. And you can't sum anybody up by just one thing that they've said or one thing that they've done. And if you do agree, or you do disagree, or you do like, or you do dislike, that's cool, but it doesn't change the reality of the situation, which is that it is what it is. Humans are going to human, people do what they do, and what you like and dislike or agree with or disagree with actually doesn't make any difference whatsoever. At the end of the day, the only thing that really does matter is your relationship to the truth. Your ability to test your own assumptions, to test your own opinions, to look deeper inside yourself and to keep uncovering the truth and then living and breathing the truth through the actions that you take. If you do that, then you're going to grow more real and you're going to find an unshakable foundation of acceptance within yourself, and then you're going to be less triggered by other people, you're going to get less worked up, and you're just going to be able to realize that it is what it is, it do be what it do be, and everybody is just trying to do the best they can with this crazy situation called the human experience and wherever it's leading them in their own lives. So that was a video about how the less accepting we are of ourselves, the more we need certain things to be true, the more that affects our worldview, and the more we flip out if people disagree with it. We think we don't like them, and that means we can take our love away. Love just being a basic level of acceptance, and it causes problems for us because it keeps us in that spiral, a negative spiral of not accepting ourselves. But it causes problems for the world because then everyone just starts arguing about stupid shit that they don't need to argue about, and fighting and getting in all kinds of conflicts, when really the conflict is always internal. And this is why, if you really want to change the world, you got to start with yourself. Another cheesy thing to say, but it's true. So I hope that helped you, or at least made you think. If anyone wants to talk to me, there's a link on my website, ollieanderson.co.uk/talk. Free coaching session so you can work and grow in real, finding that unshakable foundation within yourself. And apart from that, I wish you all Godspeed and peace to you.